Hattrick friends, let me tell you about the Hattrick Cycle Planner. Session, the developer of this great tool, has added new features. This tool has gone from being a pure planner tool showing you the product of all of your training cycles to an actual planner and tracking tool of your plans as you execute them in real time. The most recent features are the possibility of copy and pasting a player directly from Hattrick. How convenient is that? The possibility to age and track your players, the possibility to adjust players or excluding them from a training slot in a cycle. It could be you are including half-baked players in your plan. Now that is supported as well. The planner now supports stamina and subskill, and you can estimate the subskill of the stamina of your half-baked players when you add them later into your plan. Another great feature about the training results and how they are upgraded is the fact that they now carry so much more information and detail of how the player develops from training update to training update. Compared to the built-in training planner in Hattrick, you can always see the subskill. That is one of the main reasons why I like to keep track of my teams in both the Hattrick Cycle Planner and the built-in training planner in Hattrick itself. If you are not a Hattrick supporter, fear not. This tool is more comprehensive than the built-in planner tool. In order to show all the features and how to construct a training plan with this tool, I'm going to construct an example plan. So let's just jump right into it. Let's see some of the features of this excellent tool. I'm going to construct an example plan consisting of 3 players, 2 17-year-olds and a 19-year-old added to the plan after 2 seasons. I'll add the first player manually. I'll set the age to 17 years and 3 days because that is probably the most common age to start a training plan. The stamina will be 4.99 for all newly promoted players. Notice how age is the only required field in the planner. I will add ones into the other remaining abilities because that's the lowest value for a newly promoted player anyway. Defending I'll set to 6 passable. That's player 1. For the second player I want to import a player directly from Hattrick. So let's head over to the Hattrick page and see how that is done. We have to use the copy to clipboard function in the upper right corner here. The button right next to it, provided by Foxtrek, is not supported by the Hattrick Cycle Planner tool, so make sure you use the built-in. Now back in the Hattrick Cycle Planner tool, we choose to add a player, and with the cursor in the player name field, we press Ctrl V. On a Mac, that would be Command V. For additional instructions, you can also hover this I for more information. I'll set the stamina to 4.99 as this player is also newly promoted. The third player, the 19-year-old, will be added at a later stage in this video in order to showcase other functions. But for now, let's set up some training. We'll train these 2 guys in defending and we'll train them for 16 weeks. We will leave the stamina share to 10% and we'll select a solid coach that's equal to a level 4. Assistant coach level, let's leave it at 10. That's quite common. We will set the training day to Friday, 2 in the morning. We'll add another cycle, this time a season in playmaking, so 16 weeks. Notice how all the settings carry on over from the first training cycle added as well. We'll add a third cycle, more playmaking, 16 weeks, and we'll just up the stamina share to 15%. We're now ready to train the players. Now we get a summary of all the players and you can see the trained abilities are highlighted in green. Here you have defending highlighted and you get a nice overview of all the players trained by the cycle so far. If we go to player 1, we'll get a detailed overview of the weekly progress of each and every training update. We can see how the skill is accumulating by the increasing value in green here. You can see the value with 3 decimals by hovering the skill value as we move along. You can also see how the skill is also accumulating in stamina as the training goes on. Every skill pop is marked by a green highlight out on the right, so you also get a good idea of how many times your player is about to pop during this cycle. Let's move on to playmaking. Starting from 1, you'll see a lot of pops initially and the value of each training update being very efficient at low levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pops in just 1 season, starting from the disastrous level. In the third cycle, we are training 15% stamina, and you can see how effective each of the updates are for the player in question. You can also see an interesting thing here around the age of 20, because there are caps to younger players' stamina, and as soon as he reaches the age of 20, he can then gain a whole lot more stamina from the 15% in the training plan. Down at the bottom, we get a weekly and a seasonal overview of the wages. You can see the base value if you are training a homegrown player. You can see the cost of a foreign player, as well as the cost of a player with a special specialty. If you have a foreigner with a specialty, you can also see the cost for such a combination here. It's not uncommon to add a half-baked player at a later stage in the training plan, and in this example we'll add a 19-year-old player to show a few more features of this tool. Going to find a player from Hattrick and import him directly. Again, I've found a suitable player for the example here, so I'll copy from the built-in copy to clipboard function, not the Foxtrick provided option. And back in the Cycle Planner tool, we'll add player, make sure the cursor is in player name field, and we'll paste once more. For this player, we can make a precise calculation of his stamina by looking at the last time he played a full match without pressing. Let's take a look at that within Hattrick. To find the stamina, we need to look at his capacity at minute 80, 85, and 90. So let's start out by minute 80. He's at 80, 76, and 72. Back in the Hattrick Cycle Planner tool, we now click the little calculator here, and now we add the values 80, 76, and 72. Now we know that the stamina is 6.29. Great. Now, when we press the train button here, you'll notice that he will be trained in the same manner as the 17-year-old players, but that's not what we wanted. So we'll have to make adjustments to the first 2 seasons of training. I click this wheel and we choose to adjust the player in question. We want him to be excluded for this first season of training. We also want to pause aging because he's not in the club. Theoretically, we don't know this player yet. We are just planning to add him. So I'll pause aging here and I'll do the same thing for the second training cycle. Let's take a look what happens when we train. This is much better because now all the players are the same age, 20 years old. So now he's excluded from the first 2 training cycles. Exactly what we wanted. Notice how playmaking supports a 50% slot. There's no such option for defending training because all training slots are 100%. Now let's imagine that the 19-year-old player we added will actually be playing in a winger position. We can then adjust him by selecting the 50% slot. Now, when we train him, his training output will be reduced accordingly. Some managers do rotate in the training slots in other ways. An example could be a player playing at 45 minutes as an inner midfielder and 45 minutes as a winger each and every week. In that case, we would have to utilize a setting with the minutes because that would be equal to 67 minutes per week rather than using a 50% slot. Once we train with the 67 minutes adjusted, you'll see that the training output has increased for Piero Paolo Opes. All these features we've seen so far are very nice when you are building your plan, but once you actually set it into motion, you want to be able to track the training as the week goes by. So there's the function to age players as time moves along. In this example, I've just created the training plan and we are on the same date. So I'll have to adjust the starting plan in order to be able to show you this feature. Let's imagine I created this plan on Monday the 5th. Now you can see that from Monday the 5th until this date, 2 training updates have occurred. Now once I click this button, the players will start aging and you'll see the accumulated training from the updates being added onto the values in the overview here. Let's take a look. Now you see 17 years and 17 days and you can see they've actually gained some defending. This is where this tool outshines the built-in training planner. The sub-levels, the decimals are visible to you as you move along. So I like to employ this tool for my own plan, even though I use the built-in training planner as well. Do also notice that Piero Paolo Opes will not be aging along with the other players until we actually reach the stage where he's part of the training plan. So if we jump into the time machine and set the start of this plan to June 2nd, that should be roughly 3 seasons ago, you'll see how Piero Paolo Opes is also aging according to the planner because he has actually arrived in the club and trained exactly 1 week. So that's what the aging does. Imagine you weren't able to find Piero Paolo Opes until 3 weeks into the 3rd season of your training plan. You would then adjust Piero Paolo Opes to start training in week 4, and then you would be able to pause aging until he actually arrives in the club. It's not a given that you'll be able to find the players exactly when you plan to in Hattrick. Some of us do manage more than 1 team, and it's possible to add yet another plan to this whole tool if we click this plus, and we can call it Club 2. And then we have an option to swap between the plans. You also have an option to duplicate this plan and make a copy. And you can delete individual plans like this. Yes, I want to delete. And if you are working across devices, you have the option to export a training plan. And you'll be able to import the JSON file on your other device in order to use the tool across devices. You can also swap between dark mode and light mode up here. That's all the features I'm going to show. Thank you to Session for creating this awesome tool. If you feel like you're missing some sort of feature, make sure to make a comment in the video and I'll make sure to pass them on. I hope you guys get to enjoy using the Hattrick Cycle Planner as much as I have. Thank you so much for watching.